Anambra said Mr. Peter Obi was a news that a lot of people were talking about. And today, since declared, he has moved to the Labour Party. Tonight, I'm being joined by the former governor of Anambra State and the frontline presidential aspirant, Mr. Peter Obi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
It was a shocker to a lot of your supporters with
But party is like an association. You have freedom of association. You have freedom to go in, freedom to go out. It's a relationship thing. And when you go into a relationship thing, an association, you go in there for a reason. And if you feel that maybe the activities that you go on is at variance with your own person and your principles, the only thing you can do is to quietly and decently leave the place. And that's what I did. You could see my write up to the chairman of the party. There was no tone there that shows any quarrel or anything. I thank them for the opportunity of being their member, opportunity of associating myself there, and said, going on, I found that I can no longer continue because of some activities I believe that are at variance with my person and my principles.
What kind of
things
are those?
Well, it's not personal to me.
Okay.
Quite frankly, there's nothing. It's just like I always tell people, the process through which you get into arrive at any destination, especially when it comes to seeking a public office, is as fundamental as what you do thereafter. So for me, I want to be able to follow a process that I believe in. Some people will tell you, do anything, when you get there, you can correct it. No, I don't believe in that. The process must be same as what I do thereafter. As a politician, I've campaigned, I've gone around this country, I've done what I'm supposed to do, presented myself to the people, and if I find out there's other things I might not be able to be part of, I decently withdrew myself. There was no issue.
You know the reason why I'm asking this question? I mean, one is curious that just about the time you left, Senator Buhari has left also.
Well, everybody has his own reason for living.
You think things are going wrong in the PDP?
No. I don't think so. Everybody, like I said, it's an association. Like people are living, they're living everywhere, you know. It's an association. You have right to go in, you have right to go out. There's nothing wrong there.
Does it call to question from what your friend said yesterday, Governor Nyensom Wike said about you leaving the party and coming back? You've gone around the country, and now on what platform will you now say you want to? You've gone on the platform of the PDP to campaign, to go around and consult the delegates of the PDP. Does that call to question your own loyalty as a party person?
I don't understand. Can you be clear on what he said? He said
Governor Nyensom Wike called your loyalty to question to the PDP.
What? I don't remember what I like question. I came into a system, and I was part of that system. I said there throughout the years I was in PDP, nobody can question my loyalty to the party. I participated in everything. And when I'm going out, I didn't go out in a cross situation. I did it so decently.
So good evening, everyone. Mazezoke speaking. Mazezoke speaking to us. Today is Friday, so let's kickstart and start our Friday hangout today. As usual, we will be looking at the reason why P2B finally has left the PDP, and I will be having a couple of guests this evening to join me to do justice to these, to this topic. I hope we all can hear me loud and clear. I am still Mazes, okay? And this is once more Njenje Media TV. Many of you have been waiting for so long to know what is happening. And again, you are rest assured the reason why you have joined us here is that we will definitely tell you all that you need to know because, as usual, you are aware that we deal with facts and we look at the news behind the headlines. I would have a couple of guests with me today that will be joining me in having discussion, regarding this. We will be doing justice to this. And while we are waiting for a couple of them to join us, we will continue with the broadcast because the Mr. Peter Obi before now gave an interview with Sheun Okimbalo. We will endeavor to, I think the internet is still, I don't know if it's from channels or from the internet, but it appears to be slagging a little bit. But be that as it may, we will bring it back to see if we can understand and agree with the reasons why, the reasons he gave as to reason why he Sheon wanted to put words into his mouth saying jumping or abandoning, and he said he didn't jump, neither did he abandon. Obviously, that's a given. Having said that, people, let's see how it goes. Let's get people to join us to have this conversation. Bear in mind, as usual, this is Mazezoke's Friday Hangout. Every Friday this happens. We had a little bit delay because we needed to make sure that we are certain and everything is happening as planned. I have joining me from Abuja right now, Professor Femi Olufemilade. Professor Ofemi Olufemilade is joining me already, and I will be bringing him in. Prof, are you there? Are you settled in? Are you settled in properly? If you're settled in,
yeah,
Prof. Good
I'm
evening.
with you, sir.
Yeah, good evening,
Good
Prof.
evening.
So thank you
Good
for
evening,
joining
Mazi.
me. Yeah, good evening. Thank you
Nice
for
to
joining
be
me.
here.
Yes, Prof. I just need to pick your. I just need to ask you, what's your impression? Peter Obi has joined the Labour Party. Many people before now thought he was going to join NNPP. At some point, there was this conversation and rumor that he was going to be on a major ticket. Now we have heard and he has confirmed it that he has joined the Labour Party. Do you think that the Labour Party is the vehicle to drive the merger talk, or is it going to be something, you know, that is going to be a standalone? What do you think that is going to happen, Prof?
Well, thank you very much, Mazi. I want you to know that Peter Obi is an iconic brand within the Nigerian political class. He is a disruptive actor within the Nigerian political arena. He comes into the arena with his own principles, with his own ideological bent, which he so far has not compromised. He is a two-term governor. He's a household name, and is someone that in the past couple of years has attracted a growing followership that cuts across ethnic, religious, and regional divides in Nigeria. Anywhere he goes, that huge crowd of admirers, followers, supporters, enthusiasts who are desirous of his being the arrowhead of the change that Nigerians have yearned for, that has so far eluded them, they will go there with him, if not in body, in spirit. So it doesn't matter what the platform is. The brand that Nigerians are excited about and that they are ready to follow anywhere is Peter Obi. All I can tell you is that this Labour Party appears to be a lucky party, because I recall that my good friend and elder, Dr. Segun Mimiko, the former governor of Ondo State, when he himself had cause to leave PDP, there was pessimism. They said, oh, he has finally overplayed his hand. He has finally, the end of his aspiration had finally come. But surprisingly, he defeated the dominant parties then on this untested platform, because he too is a charismatic personality. He enjoyed a lot of following in Ondo State then. All those who believed in him from different political parties, from all walks of life, they went with him to Labour and populated it. Those who did not join, they got ready to vote him. And he won. And he became eventually a two-term governor. So Peter Obi, you are going to see a phenomenal growth of Labour Party. It's just, I think he did his due diligence before going there.
Prof, so, let me interject a little bit here. You know, you made allusion and you made a comparison with Olusegun Mimiko, who, when he was in the Labour Party, who also engaged in what we call then the Orange Revolution, and it worked. It worked for 2 terms for him. Now, are you saying that when people talk about structure, if you just oppose that is it much easier to do this structure in one state, or within the time left, about 8 months left to the general election, do you think that that would be enough time to build that structure in order to replicate that Orange Revolution?
I can readily tell you, as one who has researched presidential elections or general elections,
Prof, are you there? Okay, I think the internet connection is obviously Prof has been Prof has been taken away by the internet. You know, some of you, when I read online, some people say P2B anywhere he goes, and maybe also Prof has also gone with P2B based on his internet. And I can see some of your comments. Many of you saying that the PDP is dead by the virtue of
for the position of the head of state.
Okay, Prof, I'm bringing you back. We lost you for a while. Are you still there? Okay, I think obviously the internet is still doing the same thing. So let's get cracking. I'll bring Prof back when the internet stabilizes. Then Prof will come back. That was Professor Olufemi Lade, the Professor of Strategic Studies, Buratai Center of Contemporary Studies, Ibunedion University, Benin City, Edo State. He was also a presidential aspirant under the SDP. Okay, I hope that Prof comes back, then we can have that conversation. Now, many of you who are online who wish to join us, obviously you can also join us in this conversation. We are still expecting more guests to join us. We are still expecting more people to join us. This is, as you all know, that was a breaking news earlier today that Peter Obi, the former governor of Anambra State and the former PDP presidential hopeful aspirant, is now within the Labour Party. Okay, Prof, you're back.
Yes,
Prof, I think
to answer your question about whether this platform will be adequate, I can readily tell you that while it will go a long way in creating a rendezvous for esteeming supporters, admirers, many of whom do not necessarily belong to any political party. It will provide a platform for many of them to come into this party because they want him elected. It will not be adequate to make him president of Nigeria because the fitting incumbency from studies that I carried out shows that the victory normally comes through what I would call a rainbow coalition. Recall that late 2014, I was commissioned to do a study by the incumbent president on how to defeat incumbency. And I researched and wrote a paper titled Opposition Victories in Africa, How It Can Happen in Nigeria. In that paper, I reviewed 8 countries in which the opposition had defeated an incumbent regime, a ruling party. The 8 countries were Kenya, Zambia, Malawi, Benin Republic, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Senegal. I discovered that in most of these instances, splinter parties, civil society organizations, trade unions, etc., normally team up to give victory to the opposition candidate. Based on the paper I presented, I researched. One of my recommendations was that we should create platforms for those who ordinarily would not want to join any political party, but because of the appeal, personal appeal of the candidate that we were promoting then, they will want to become active politically. We should create room for what we call support organizations. And that was how you had a harvest of Buhari support organizations, which are rechristing Buhari or Shimbaju support organizations, particularly in the Southwest. And many of them were happy to, run their own show within the respective support organizations they formed. In Ibadan alone, I think we had not less than 5 different support organizations, each of which had its independent ESCOs. And that was the picture nationwide. And preparatory to the election day, when mobilization strategy meetings were being held in Abuja, the support organizations too were encouraged to attend. Their leaders were encouraged to attend. And they were coming, and they all went. They were printing their own posters, printing their own face caps, printing their own shirts, and going to radio stations to talk on TV. So it was that approach that, harnessed every bits and pieces of support from diverse settings, from diverse walks of life, that brought that unprecedented opposition victory in 2015. And now, talking of 2023, we should begin to think of how to create a rainbow coalition. A lot of people, even in the dominant parties you are talking about, will need to be wooed and encouraged and given a respectable reception to come and work for this candidate.
Are you there?
Because in those parties, he has admirers.
Are you then saying that it is not going to be a Labour Party affair? You've used the word, coalition, rainbow coalition, a couple of times. Do you foresee a coalition where, other parties will join force with Labour Party in order to have, to deliver him? And, that is one question.
I foresee.
Go ahead.
I foresee that because he has admirers across the political divide. I, who is talking to you, for instance, I am not a member of Labour Party. But I know so many people that even in APC, of course, we belong to a platform where you have a lot of APC members who are rooting for him as we are talking. There are other platforms where you have PDP members rooting for him. As a matter of fact, I've encountered a number of PDP members who are telling me that they are leaving PDP because of their boss, as they put it, that where he goes, they are going. And I'm telling you this empirically and with all sense of responsibility. So what I'm saying in essence is not that I say he will subordinate the Labour Party to any form of compromise with any other party. But what I'm saying is that there must be room in his presidential campaign council. There should be a directorate for support organizations. Many of those who are in other parties who want to support him may not formally defect they can remain in their party and say, Peter Obi support organization, Owerri chapter, Ibadan chapter, Enugu chapter, Sokoto chapter, because they are targeting one person that they want to put in power. But there will be parties too. Some of these smaller parties that may say we are not going to field any candidate, or their candidates may decide to step down. The modalities of working with those ones, we can also be worked out. And that means in his campaign council, there will be a directory for inter-party liaison, somebody that will be able to reach out to aggrieved people, admiring people across party divides who are interested in him. And they must be given accommodation with all due respect to them. Because it's like when a lion, a king lion, breaks into a community, it is not about one man who has a gun going after him, or going after that king lion. Everybody will be allotted any instrument you have, whether it's cutlass, whether it's dingon, whether it's double barrel, whether it's arrow. The whole community will have to march as one to go after it. Otherwise, to deal with it could be difficult. They may suffer defeat if they are not careful. But to chase it out collectively, they will need to come together using everything at their disposal. That is the same scenario you have when you are talking of the so-called power of incumbency in African politics. The power of incumbency entails the use of the instruments of coercion, which includes the police, the secret service agencies, even in some banana republics, even the military will be deployed as part of the instruments of incumbency to intimidate and defeat opposition. You also have your treasury at the beck and call of the people who are incumbent. So if you want to deal with such Leviathan, then you need to welcome everybody who is interested in joining the fight. You must create an easy access to you for them. And that is what we call rainbow coalition. It has happened like that. And that's why I'm foreseeing, talking about other parties, I would only suggest that good relationship should be maintained with them. Because my prediction for 2023 election is that you are likely to have a runoff. The first ballot may not produce a clear winner. When you look at a situation where a Kwankwanso phenomenon is emerging in the Northwest, and he's throwing it, Kwankwanso, Rabi Musa Kwankwanso, former governor, very charismatic, highly popular in that part of the country, is throwing his hat into the ring, regardless of the convention of power rotation between the North and the South. Then you have Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, a tested politician, a man who of no mean capacity, and is from the Northeast. A lot of votes in diocese you can take for granted will go his way. And then you have a Peter Obi coming from a geopolitical zone that is crying wolf against anybody that from any other zone attempting to go for this presidency now, because they are claiming, and they have historical basis for that they are the only leg of the tripod that has been denied access to the ultimate position of power in the country, the presidency, and that they are not going to, their socio-cultural group virtually place the curse on any Igbo man that will go and accept the position of a running mate. They want that position. And so it's like what I may call a movement that we want this presidency to come our way this time for justice sake, for equality's sake, for sense of belonging sake. So the long and short of it is that the least I expect is for this man to also dominate votes. That's Peter Obi from that zone. And then don't forget that we also have Southwest there, where the group of politicians who put in everything to make it possible for President Buhari, who has been, trying over the years to be president, the winning edge, they gave it to him. It's 12 million plus votes that he was known for. They added their own bit to it, and they have a sense of entitlement that one good turn deserves another. That is their turn now to produce.
So are you then insinuating that the South, what do you think will be the take of the Southwest? I mean, knowing that there are a couple of candidates, especially within the APC,
I'm not going to single out the Southwest. I'm telling you, even look at Governor Wike. Is he not from the South? That just recently produced President Goodluck Jonathan. So I'm telling you that virtually every zone of this country, look at Governor Bello, Yaya Bello, from North Central. You do not know what may eventually happen. So all these zones are rooting. They have serious aspirants who want this same thing. I foresee a situation where votes will go into will be cast along geopolitical block lines, such that no single candidate in this forthcoming election will be able to command the national spread of 2/3 of total votes cast in the 36 states and Federal Capital Territory of this federation. And you know that at least one needs to have like 1/4 of the votes in at least 2/3 of the states. So I'm seeing a situation where in the first ballot, you may have 1 or 2 parties, candidates that may have something close to winning, but not actually getting there. And then that is where these smaller parties may come in. Parties like that probably win 1 state, or that win 4 or 5 senatorial seats, and their candidate in the election gets about 5% or 10%. So there will be need for there is likely to be a runoff, and then you will need to have a coalition. So if you have been talking in friendly terms with some of these other parties over time, then the chances are that they will, tilt towards your side when that time comes to give you the winning edge. And that means you need to negotiate power sharing. So that is where I think the issue of other parties will come in seriously. The parties that I think will be reckoned with will be those that demonstrate seriousness in the way their own respective candidates go about campaigning and succeeds in pulling crowd. It's not just any party by name that it exists on paper, or INEC has it on its database as a registered party without any serious demonstration of interest in capturing power through adequate mobilization. That one may not add any value to Obi's quest. So it's along the line we know the boys from the men. Because if what Igbo people call efulefu, if 20 efulefu parties gather together and say, 20 parties have endorsed Obi of Labour Party, it doesn't mean they have added any value. One single party that is serious, and that's a lot of crowd behind it, will be far better than those 20 Efulefu parties that are only existing on paper and are just looking around like a prostitute for who will patronize them. You know, those are not the kind of parties I will be interested in. But I know one party. But let me tell you, one party that you should watch out for among the smaller parties is SDP, Social Democratic Party. That party.
I was coming to that, Prof.
Yes,
I was coming to that.
Social Democratic Party is one party that is going to pull a lot of weight, and I will look forward to a clement rapport between Labour and SDP going forward. They may.
I like that prediction.
Yes, they will need each other.
Maybe you're making this prediction from a vintage point. You were once, you know, until I don't know if you're still going ahead in the primaries that is happening over the weekend. Until recently, you know, I am in the last interview that I had with you on this platform, you were planning to run under the Social Democratic Party, the SDP. So I don't know if that is still the case, or are you throwing your support?
Well, I have pulled out of the race. I have stepped down, and of course, I've mobilized my supporters to rally around an aspirant that I believe is serious and has got what it takes to have experienced a meaningful outing in this process. Because the SDP is also a party that is coming out on a rescue mission. And it has its own strengths. And one of which is that this party has its cadres up to world level in the entire country. There is no single local government in Nigeria where it doesn't have a local government down to the world level. So it may not be in power, but it has shown that it has a serious staying power over the years. I think perhaps, if I look at it, I think it's the oldest party in terms of keeping its name, apart from this PDP. Is the second oldest party in Nigeria today. And because of that widespread structure that it has, when I was distributing posters nationwide, the structure was what helped me. And you will be getting calls from border towns like Konkolam and the rest in Sokoto that we have your poster here, we are interested from Idiroko in Lagos and say the same thing. Somebody will call you from Ikom, border area and Cross River, and tell you the same thing because my posters were branded for feedbacks. So there were phone numbers there dedicated for feedback. So that kind of party and with a serious candidate is also going to pull its weight seriously. And also a lot of heavyweight defections are also happening. You look at Ekiti State, for instance, the former governor, Engineer Shegun, is the candidate of the party in the coming gubernatorial election, and is making waves. Is the man to beat. You look at Sokoto to Adamawa, a major shifting of the PDP in that state. Dr. Umar Ado is the Guba candidate of the party. He recently joined the party, leaving the PDP. You go to Kwara State, a serving minister in the present administration, all his supporters and backers, some of them members of State House of Assembly, They have joined the party. So that's one party too that is going to make a serious wave going forward. And the person that I'm supporting, by the time before we do our convention coming up, his name will be unfolded as far as SDP is concerned. And while each of the party is doing his own thing, the goal remains the same, power. So if we get to a point where there is need to collaborate, that modalities will be worked out, because the goal remains the same, to give this country, the people of the long-suffering people of this country, a new lease of life.
That's a very wonderful analysis, Prof. Now, before I let you go, Prof, because I know he will be speaking on the I think Arise anytime from now.
Yes,
which will try. Yeah, which we will try to also broadcast live here. Now, before I let you go, if do you see a Emmanuel Macron happening in Nigeria? Because you have the main opposition, you have the main party, which is the APC, and you have the main opposition party, the PDP. Yes, P2B has left the PDP, but again, many say that the PDP has got structures across Nigeria. Do you think that the Nigerian youth are maybe hungry enough for change to come out and actually wrestle power away from the from the old cadre by virtue of moving with P2B in order to recreate or create a semblance of what you have that
as a strategist, academy or Command and Staff College, I always say, with a good strategy, all battles are winnable. With a good strategy, any party can be uprooted, just as Emmanuel Macron uprooted parties that have been in power for over a century, the Socialist Party in France and the rest. He had a very good strategy. He didn't just come because, oh, the people of France they were just desirous of change, but because Macron was a deft planner, he had good strategists around him. That was how we got the PDP out in the first place. It didn't come on a platter of gold. So this time around, if the leading personalities in this game are able to engage the help of strategists, they will be able to do a strategic plan that will make what you are expecting to happen. Even mobilizing those that will vote properly, adequately, to do the needful is a function of strategy. So to answer your question in a nutshell, is easily doable because the atmosphere has prepared even the minds of the people for a change. And they're actually yearning for a change. But to have those who can astutely and strategically harness this revolutionary situation to effect a revolutionary action is what we should be hoping to see. Democratic revolution is what you are asking about. It can happen, whereby you throw an entire political class out of power through the ballot box. It's very possible.
Do you think that that is possible, bearing in mind what happened with endears, when everyone was hoping and thinking, wow,
endears was a spontaneous movement against high-handedness by an agency of government, and it was brutally suppressed. We are talking about a peaceful exercise of the franchise We are not talking about street demonstration. We are talking about going to demonstrate with your PVC, queuing in an orderly fashion. So it is quite possible. It's very, very possible. There is no government we go and mobilize against such constitutionally required effort. You know.
That makes a lot of sense. So, Prof, you know, I will be letting you go now, but bear in mind that this conversation definitely would continue. You know, whatever happens, you know, you've said and you've given ideas as to what could be done regarding, you know, alliance and what have you. But I think it's an interesting time. You know, before I let you go, who do you think? I know you're not a betting man, but I always want to, you know, whenever I have the opportunity to speak to you, to extract one or two things from you. Now, could you make any permutation? Who do you think would emerge the flag bearer of APC and the PDP?
Well, I see it's a hot contest between Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Governor Nyesom Wike. But if history is any guide, recall that even in 2019, Nyesom Wike deployed everything he had. He could muster. You know, he's not a man who does his things in half measure. If he's going for a war, he goes with every bullet and, you know, arm and ammunition in his arsenal. So, and he is going around, and that is so much that he said, when his supporters wake up, what they should say is, Wike, when their girlfriend makes a phone call to them, the first thing they should reply is, Wike. When they are going to bed, the things they should say to members of their family last is, Wike. So this man is a formidable foe. But Atiku Abubakar is an old war horse. He's been in the game since 1992, apparently. And he has demonstrated his staying power. He's a master organizer who has his tentacles all over the country. There is no section of the country where he doesn't have associates. So he defeated the man Wike was supporting in 2019 in the person of Governor Aminu Tambuwa, and it was by a very good margin. So there is nothing in the horizon now that suggests that he cannot defeat, he cannot win the ticket. When I engaged Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who happens to be a friend, a couple of weeks ago, I saw an article titled, "Will Atiku swim against the tide?" So I shared it with him, and he replied me that, Femi, I have always swum against the tide. Nothing has ever come to me easy. So I'm going to swim against the tide and swim safely ashore once again. So,
he's been swimming against the tide since 1992.
My prediction is that he will win. That's the question you are asking. He's most likely to emerge the winner. That's Atiku Abubakar. Coming to the APC, well, I think we are likely to have the APC. It doesn't make things easy for one to be able to guess easily, because there appears to be no level playing ground in that place, except one wants to go into sorcery or one wants to go into prophecy. But to do an intelligent prediction that it will be this person based on their capacity for mobilization or their track record in campaigning is a lot difficult. If you have a level playing ground, one will want to say the person likely to emerge will be Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, followed by the vice president. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, you know, built bridges of political association across the country over the years. And many of those people that whose life he has touched politically, they are senators, they are governors, they are ministers, and so on. So they could see this as a payback time for him. But there appears to be no level ground. On the other hand, my good friend, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, he has been in power now for about 7 years. And he is an amiable person. He's a charming man, unassuming, likable. He has also made a lot of friends across the country, and he has demonstrated that he's highly cerebral. He knows his onions. When he served as acting president, he was able to exhibit a lot of good leadership qualities. And people across the ethnic, religious, and regional divides said, how we wish this man can continue. So a lot of people, right-thinking people within the APC too, might say, for us to get it right at this critical time, we are going to vote for this man. So, and he's been moving around, and he's a winsome character. So is between him and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That I am sure of. But that is if you have a level playing ground. But as things stand, there are a party in which people are going to buy a form, and they've already attached withdrawal form to it to be filled and signed that I have voluntarily withdrawn from this race. Where is that done? That is to tell you that there is no somebody is not acting in good faith.
Yeah, but isn't that Bola Ahmed Tinubu's trademark? Recall when in 2011, Pastor Tunde Bakari told Nigerians that he was up, when he became the VP then, or a running mate to General Muhammadu Buhari, that he was approached with this letter, to get that signed off as well. But anyway, I think the prof is no longer there. But I was coming to something, because he who kind of chops head off doesn't like it when someone comes, walks around with sharp knife. But be that as it may, people, what is happening, and it is official, as I said now, that Peter Obi is now. Oh, okay, Professor is back on. Sorry, Prof, you're back on. Sorry, I was. I think your internet removed you again.
Yes, I think we are rounding up on me now.
Yes, we are rounding up on you. But again, your analysis is spot on. But I only have, you are talking about not having a level playing field in the APC, and you alluded to.
Everybody is saying so. Everybody is saying so.
But I mean, what the issue of signing before having a signature before the election started, or trying to have somebody have a post-dated resignation letter, it is not something new. It's actually happened in the APC convention that happened a couple of months back, that someone was actually stepping down for somebody and he was crying. You can imagine a man crying, saying, I'm stepping down for this person, I'm doing it in good faith, but at the same time, the individual is crying. Shows you he's actually doing that under duress. It wasn't something normal. But for some reason, hasn't that become the trademark of the party in question?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the trademark. We may just say that it is an indication that the party is not a party in a democratic sense of the word. Because if you have a truly democratic party, the franchise will be respected and protected. And that is the right to vote and to be voted for. So we are getting to a crucial stage, a critical stage where what happens in the primary of this party, because you cannot force people to remain in the party. You may coerce them to a predetermined outcome, but you cannot force them to share the burden of that outcome with you. So that's where I want to put that.
Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being part of this.
Thank you.
The program continues. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was Professor Femi Olufemilade, who he is a professor of, the director of Buratai Center of Strategic Studies, Ibunedion University, Edo State, who also was in the race for the presidency come 2023 under the party SDP. You know, as you all know, an erudite professor, a man of depth, knowledge, and intellect, who has given us his analysis on the things he thinks that are in the pipeline. He talked about the Orange Coalition, where various parties come together and work with the with the Labour Party to deliver Peter Obi for the 2023 presidential election. Again, people, you all know what is happening. We will have other people join us as this conversation continues this evening. Now, if you are watching us live and you want to also have your say, what you may do is, if you wish to call on the telephone, or if you want to join the live studio, what we can do is, when you check the comment section, there is actually a link that is being shared as we speak in the comment section. You can use that link to join. Bear in mind, you will not be allowed to speak if your background is not well lit and you do not have your camera on. The way you look at my face now is how we expect that you also come in. Ensure that before you click on that link to join, that you have your background well tidied up. Please do not join us if you're lying down. Please do not join us if your background is untidy. So, people, let's continue. As said before, it is then official that Peter Obi is no longer in the PDP. And that is not even the most current one. The most current one is that he is now a presidential aspirant under the Labour Party. Before now, I checked the Labour Party. Believe me or not, Labour Party, as of the time we checked on their, the Twitter handle, they hadn't got much, followers. But the moment Peter Obi then declared, that is what you call astronomical jump. The numbers suddenly jumped. It shows you one thing. It shows you that Peter Obi is loved and liked by so many. It's a man that anywhere he goes, a very simple individual that people really want to associate with him. And many people obviously also have been arguing that he is the man to do justice to, come 2023 to that post. Now, let's hear him, the interview he granted to Arise TV earlier today.
Not at all, not at all. I'm not desperate to be president. Not am I desperate to be anything.
I see what's happening there.
I'm desperate to see Nigeria work, especially for the youth of this country.
You don't think that PDP is the right vehicle?
While that is still buffering, he made a very, succinct statement that he is not desperate to be Nigerian president, but he is desperate to see Nigeria work.
Well, no. It's like I said,
He is desperate to see Nigeria
I've
work.
moved on, to where I think the process might.
As for some of you asking, what is Labour Party's manifesto? Labour Party's manifesto is to give everybody's job.
I keep saying, it's not about winning or losing.
Labour Party, the basic Labour Party manifesto is to ensure that there is less unemployment.
I would rather lose doing the right thing than win doing the wrong thing.
And I can see Fabian Ugu Boko says, I was thinking that Peter Obi would strike a deal with Rabiu. He would have leveraged from the latter popularity in the north. All the same is a positive development. Is it the thing, if you understand what is happening within the political scene, Kwankwaso has got a party that he is entirely wanting to use for his own ambition. Now, Peter Obi also wants to run for president. Therefore, who's going to step down for the other? And obviously, that is not going to happen. But maybe after the primaries, if they are going to, as the prof said, if they are going to work as a coalition, then we'll see that happen. So obviously that is still someone says that Obi hasn't even taken over and people are talking about constitutional reform. Of course, people have to set an agenda. There must be, I would agree with anyone talking about reform too. People must kind of look forward to something. There must be something that he can bring to the table.
Throughout the time I started.
Anyway,
you can go and check. This is not the first time I left PDP. In 2002, when I started this politics, I was a member of PDP. Go and read what Sametu wrote. I went to one meeting and I wanted to contribute. And some of these people said, no, you can't contribute. No. I quite left to Abia. I went to Abia because I said, if I'm in a system where
well, I don't know why that is still buffering, but be that as it may, it is indeed. We will endeavor to see that we listen to what is being said
freedom
here.
of contribution is not allowed. I went to Abia, campaigned, won the election. Somebody else was declared. I didn't quarrel. I went to court. I became the first Nigerian to ever stay in court for 3 years until court declared me the winner. I didn't quarrel. Same thing is what you see in that consistency I'm saying. When I became governor 6 months after, I was in pain. I didn't quarrel with those who impeached me. I went to court. Eventually, the court.
So everyone, what is going to happen is that we will, the internet appears to be giving some issues. What we will then do is that the Friday Hangout, obviously the main message has been passed that this has just happened. What will then happen, people, is by tomorrow we will be bringing you a live update as to those that will be having their national conventions. But news also has it that INEC has also extended the timeline for the convention by 1 week. So in that case, it will be that some will not have their some parties may not have their convention this week, while some would have theirs maybe next week. On that note, and I'll say thank you very much for being part of this conversation this evening. I am still Mazes, okay? Be rest assured that whenever there is any breaking news, we will come online and we will tell us and break that for us, while we do also analyze what is happening. I am still the dotted one. It's Friday. Normally, we do our Friday hangout with some bottles of stuff, but today let us remain sober for today. If not, I still have my bottle of something here, but we'll see how it goes. Everyone, see you tomorrow and next. We will endeavor to bring you all the live update. I am still Marcus. Peace out.